Hello everybody and welcome to Nutrition Ed with me. I'm coming live from my kitchen. Perfect place for it. Don't mind the weird close-ups. My phone is on charge, so it's sitting on an angle, so bear with me. So as I promised 2-3 weeks ago, I was going to come on and do some education on nutrition. And everything went out of control and I ran out of time, but we are here. So, welcome. I'm going to run you through the basics on reading food labels because I know it can be really confusing and really overwhelming. I'm going to keep it as simple as possible. You don't need to know everything. That's my job. Just enough, hopefully, to make you feel a little less overwhelmed. So, we'll start with, you'll know what food labels look like. They're on almost everything. Obviously, whole foods are not on, so like your fruits and your veggies, unless they're frozen. Your meats, unless they're packaged. So anything that's like fresh and not packaged won't have labels on it. It's not required. Anything that's processed does have to have them. And there's a few things at which labels have to have. Some have more info than others. And it just sort of depends also on what the manufacturers want to put on there. So things they have to put on there, you'll see on some labels, when it says ingredients, there's things in bold, or further down you'll see that it contains and then a list of ingredients. So I'll show you this. Make me use your bars from this, don't judge me. I'm going to show you this cereal box because cereal is the one that often has heaps of information. Like, look at the size of this panel. So this is a really good example to use. So forgive my head getting cut off, my phone is down low. So what they have to put on here is allergens. So you'll find it there in bold. If you look down here, there is things written in bold. This one says wheat, and then underneath that it also says contains gluten and wheat. So gluten, wheat, nut, it might say tree nuts, peanuts, nuts in general, seafood, soy, things like that are known to cause anaphylaxis. So they have to go on food labels. So if you're not allergic to anything, don't worry too much about that. That's for those who get anaphylaxis from foods, or those who are celiac and have to avoid gluten. Gluten intolerance is also good to know, but gluten intolerance and celiac are different. So we'll touch on that another time. Another thing that has to be listed is dietary fiber, fats, sugars, sodium. You'll find that calories are also listed, and carbs and protein, but they don't have to be listed. But dietary fiber, fats, sugars, and sodiums do have to. So I've got a little card here. I'm not expecting you to be able to read it, but I'm going to show you. It's got a traffic light kind of system. So, you know, like with foods, greens are good, oranges sometimes, and red is only eat in moderation. So this is similar here. I've got this little tag. And what it's got listed on here is what measurements of each per 100 grams is considered good, okay, and bad. So you'll see on, I'll grab this one. So yogurt. So what this has here, it's got in bold, it contains milk, and that's the only real allergen on here. In regards to what's listed on the label, so always check the serving size. So one of my questions I got asked was, why do they put the serving size on there when they know we're going to eat the whole thing? Well, that's true. Chocolate bars are a good example. If you read the label on a chocolate bar, for example, it often say servings 2. And we just assume that a chocolate bar means eat 1. So you actually read on there, it'll have quantity per 100 grams, and it'll have quantity per serving. Sometimes a serving is 100 grams, sometimes a serving is more or less, sometimes a serving is the whole thing, sometimes this whole thing will serve, in this case, 4.5. So always check that. It's quite easy to just read this and be like, oh, yep, 120 calories per serving. I'll just serve up whatever size I want. It's 200 grams for a serving on here. So be aware of that. For those of us who count calories, it's important that we know that. For those who aren't counting calories, it probably doesn't worry you too much. But just be aware that a serving size for the information provided is often not the size of the whole thing. Double check your chocolate bars. Like I'm pretty sure Twix and Kit Kat, like ones with the fingers, they actually list it as 2 servings per bar. So double check that next time. Fun fact. All right, so back to the rest of the label. So this yogurt here, it's got a list of per serving size, which is 200 grams. So it's bigger than the 100 gram recommendations that they've got going on here. So what it's got listed is your energy in kilojoules and calories. For those who can't convert or don't understand the conversion, if it only has kilojoules, divide it by 4.2 or just divide it by 4 quickly in your head to work out the calories. It's got energy from calories, it's got protein, it's got fat. So fat is broken down into total fats, saturated fats, and trans fats. Carbohydrates, which are broken down into carbohydrates overall and sugars, because sugar is a carb. Dietary fiber, that's important. Sodium, that's important. And also lists calcium. It doesn't have to, but it's nice to know what other minerals and nutrients are in here. So it's got calcium listed as well. So basically, your first port of call would be to check allergens. Your next one, because I understand for a lot of people, I was the same, it's hard to understand if something says like less sugar or less salt or lower salt, what it actually means is in comparison to the normal brand, like the normal. So this yogurt here is not low fat, whereas a low fat one would be comparing it to this exact same branded one, not another brand, if that makes sense. So you might see one of these as high protein, low fat. It'll be comparing it to this one, not every other kind. I know, it's a little overwhelming sometimes. So it's got allergens in bold, which is good. It lists dietary fiber, which is good, and sodium, fats, and sugars. So from this point, I always check ingredients as well. I have a lot of food sensitivity, so anything with a bit of soy in it, and I'm a goner. But the key with checking ingredients is the first 3 ingredients makes up the bulk. So if you see something and it's got sugar listed in the first 3, try and steer clear. Sugar is actually pretty prominent in it. This one doesn't have it. It's yogurt, but you might find, so things that say low fat, for example, grab a full fat of something and a low fat of something and check side by side. The fat might be less, but you'll see that either the sodium or the sugar has been jacked up because they're a preservative. If you take out one, you're going to jack the other one up. So lower fat will have more sugar or more salt. So depending on your goals, if you need to keep your sodium down, don't worry about the fats. If you need to keep sugars down, you're better off going for a higher fat version than a higher sugar. Fun fact. That messed me up when I learned that. All right. So yeah, check your first 3 ingredients. If sugar, for example, is in the first 3, it's not good. And if you've got an allergy, like I said, I've got soy. If soy's in the first 3, I've got to steer clear. I can have traces of soy. If it's further down the list, it's fine. But if soy is a main ingredient, no thank you. If milk's a main ingredient, no thank you. I am baking with this. I'm not eating this, so it's fine. So then you've got the breakdown of where your energy comes from. So it lists the calories in kilojoules, but so protein, carbs, and fats are your body's energy sources. Someone did ask me a question of what's the good and the bad of carbs and protein, pros and cons. There isn't a pro or a con, not one's better than the other. It's up to you. You determine what your body feels best on. Some people will thrive on high carb. Some people thrive on high protein. Some people can have an equal split of both. Neither is good or bad. They're both an energy source. They're both good for the body. It's the quality of the carb. So sugar's a carb, but your body will feel better on like grain carbs, not sugar carbs. So it's a matter of what kind of carb or protein you're putting into your body as to what's good versus bad. Not one is better than the other. So if you would rather eat pasta over like protein sources like protein shakes, when you get your calories from pasta, go right ahead. If you get a lot more energy out of carbs than you do protein, go for it. I personally respond better with higher protein. That's just me. So whatever works best for your body, your hunger levels, your taste buds, your calories, go for it. You will know. I don't know your body. You figure out what you feel best on. There's no good or bad, like better than the other. They've both got their benefits. So yeah, it's like comparing apples and pears. It's an energy source. It's a food. It's up to you. Anyways, back on track. So yeah, you check your label. I always go straight down to, so like calories I'm aware of, protein is important to me, so I read the protein. This one's 18.8 per serving, which is actually amazing, but it does say high protein. Whereas if you look at the cereal, it says 3.2 grams of protein per 30 grams. Cereals, watch out. A serving size is 30 grams, which is 1 1/4 cups. Most people just like pour it. Don't accommodate that many grams for the calorie count and wonder why they gain weight. So check the serving size. So 18.8 grams of protein versus 3.2. So I would respond better to something like this. Someone else might respond better to the 23 grams of carbs that this provides over the 9.8 grams that this provides. So it's a matter of you and your goals, what's more important. Then we move down to, so the carbs overall, and then underneath it'll list carbs from sugars. So you'll notice the things with like fruit-based, the sugars are quite high. That's natural sugar, fructose. Don't stress too much. It's not bad. It's added sugars you've got to be concerned about. So this one says 9.8 grams of carbs and 8 grams of them are from sugars. Now this does contain milk. Milk has lactose. Lactose is a sugar. It's not added sugars. Sugar is not listed in the ingredients. This one is saying of the 23 grams of carbs, 6 grams are from sugar. So that's not actually too bad, but it is just puffed wheat cereal. It's not Fruit Loops or something like that. It's literally just puffed wheat. There's nothing else in it because I use it for muesli bars. So it doesn't taste very nice. Moving on. So again, if you wanted a good source of carbs, either one of these would be fine. Then we look at fats. So it's got total, it's got saturated, it's got trans. Trans fats are the really bad fats. They're the ones in your butters, in your deep fried foods, things like that. Stay away from them for as much as you can. This one lists total, saturated, and trans fats as well. So both look really good for trans fats, less than 0.1 grams per serving. Same with saturated fats. So saturated fats comes from, it's more like if you eat egg yolks, the saturated fats in the yolk. Things like that, like animal fats. It's not the man-made, I'm going to fry my food kind of fats. It's the fats in like eggs. It's the fats in animal fats, like you're eating your meat. Things like that. And then it's got total fats. So it's a combination of all the fats, the saturated, the trans, the unsaturated fats. You don't have to list unsaturated fats, by the way. So less than 1 gram. So amazing. And less than 1 gram. Nope, 0.3 of a gram. So both amazing for low fat. But you see this one, because it's just puff wheat, there's not going to be a lot in it but wheat. Then you go down to dietary fiber. So the average person. So to pick a food that's got a good level of dietary fiber, so fiber is really good for your insides. Not enough, you'll have digestive troubles. Too much, you'll also have digestive issues. So sometimes it can be a bit of a juggle to find out which way it's going to swing. But so if a food has more than 3 grams of fiber per serving size, it's considered really good. So dietary fiber in this one is less than a gram per 200 grams. So it's not ideal for dietary fiber, but if you add things like fruit to your yogurt, it will increase the dietary fiber. It'll also increase your sugars, but it's okay because it's fruit. Dietary fiber in this one, 1.1 grams. So again, not a lot, but it is just puff wheat. Again, if you add things to that, it can help with the dietary fiber. You don't need a lot of fiber in a day, so anything with more than 3 is considered good per serving, but you don't need a lot. Like I think 20 grams is average, so you really don't need a lot in a day. Sodium. This is a good one. A lot of people will check sugars, they'll check fats. Not a lot of people will check sodium. Diets too high in sodium are really, really bad for your arteries. But sodium is a preservative, so a lot of foods have sodium in them, and a lot of them you wouldn't expect have high sodium as well. So like your preserved meats, a lot of sodium in them. A lot of fat too, but a lot of sodium. Obviously, packs of chips, heaps of sodium in them. Adding salty foods, salt, sodium, just in case. So you want less than 120 milligrams per serve to be considered a green food. Anything more than 400 milligrams per serve is bad. So sodium in yogurt is 74 milligrams, which is nothing. It's less than 120. Sodium in this one is less than 5 milligrams, so this one's even better. Again, it's just puff wheat, nothing else. For example, however, I'm going to find something in here that's got more salt. Shapes. These have 199 milligrams per 25 gram serve. And in a box, there's 7 serves. So if you eat a whole box of these, you're eating 1,400 milligrams of sodium. That's really bad. Really, really bad. So don't eat a whole box regularly, please. Yeah, and you look at the carbs in here. Anyway, moving on from that. So yes, check sodium. Keep that low, please. Yeah, I think that's all. Some of them, this one will also add vitamins and minerals. So if that's of interest to anybody, that's usually added on at the end, just above the bold ingredients. This one just adds calcium. So check your ingredients, mostly for the allergen side of things. Check the serving size so you know whether you can eat the whole thing or not. And also, if you're calorie counting, you need to know the serving size. Your calories will be listed as energy, either in kilojoules or calories. Again, if you're not counting, it doesn't matter, but if you are, pay attention. Check your protein, check your fat. Mostly check your trans fats. You want to keep that as low as possible or non-existent. Check your carbs. Check what comes from sugars more than anything. And check that sugar is not one of the first 3 ingredients listed. And check your dietary fiber. Again, anything above 3 grams is considered good, but you can add things to it, like cereals, add fruits, add milk to yogurt, add fruits to boost it up. And check your sodium. Please check that. On a lot of packaged foods, it's usually a lot higher than you'd assume, especially if things don't have a lot of sugar or if they don't have a lot of fat. Check their sodium. So yeah, there you go. That's a basic rundown. Any questions, let me know, but I try to keep it as straightforward as possible, the things that you need to check. So yeah, there we go. Have the best day, guys. Bye.